upcoming EMT class. Our first meeting is an informational meeting on September 4th over in Bird City. Currently, we've got 24 people on our list for possible students. And like I've said many times before, you just never know who's going to be there in a few months.
But is that where you're going to host the class at?
Yeah.
Is it in Bird City?
Yeah. We've got some interest. I know there's 2 from Goodland, possibly 1 from Colby. And I've heard through the grapevine possibly 1 or 2 from McDonald.
What is your percentage of people actually finishing this thing so far, do you know? Like 10%?
Let's see here. Let's take 24. If we would get 8 out of there, so 33%.
And of course, our ultimate goal is
thrilled.
Are we going to get 8 we can depend on?
Well, yeah, and then you take those 8, and 7 of them can only respond at night.
Yeah.
And our holes during the day.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's a realistic...
Maybe 10% at the most.
It totally depends on who it is.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a spouse that doesn't have young kids and doesn't work, you know, and that's how, used to in the Gable days things were ran, that makes a big difference. One person makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Now it seems like it takes an army.
So when is the deadline to actually commit to this?
It'd be the first day of class, which is September 18th.
Okay. So we'll know more on that date.
Yes.
What we're dealing with.
The paperwork gets signed and all that on September 18th.
Okay.
September 4th is just informational. Anybody can come. There's no commitment.
I'd like to.
And yeah, the Bird City has sponsored meals, so that's a big commitment for 9 months, 2 nights a week. So, with that, I did print off this last page, and I was talking to Leslie about that at the break. This is our letter that we send out to the students once they sign that first night, saying the county will sponsor you. So it's truly a no-cost class. So how this works is the state, through the Education Incentive Grant, basically pays for their tuition to take the class. Roughly, I think it's $1,300 per student. They require a 20-hour per month commitment back to the service that sponsors them. And they have to sign another memo of understanding for that grant. Several years ago when we had our last class, to make it a no-cost class, the county agreed to sponsor them for the rest of their fees. So that was the books, some equipment like stethoscopes, their first round of testing fees. It totaled $300 and some odd per student. What we've said in the past is we'll sponsor you up to a maximum of $500. So this is the agreement that actually they sign for that second year commitment to the county. We've used the same verbiage as the state used. We put in the same, you have to give another year, so you have to give a total of 2 years up and 240 hours that second year, which is the same the state requires of the first year. Now that can be, this is an agreement with just the county for that second year. So this can be tailored however you guys want it. Since the class is going to divide over years, budget-wise, as long as I don't have over 16, I'm fine. We can do half the expense this year and half the expense next year, and we'll be all right. I mean, if we would have 24.
I would love to have 24.
I was going to say, I guess that's a good problem to have. And we'll discuss that when we really
we'll worry
do.
about that one when it happens.
But I told Leslie, I don't think this agreement and this letter has ever been approved by legal. She has a copy too.
Okay.
And
You say they're required to give us 240 hours?
Hours that year.
Now, is that call hours?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
So
not
basic-
full-time service.
Basically, I mean, it's
20 hours a month.
one day. Take a 24-hour Saturday a month. and you've met your requirement.
And that's what we were discussing. The 240 is the minimum mandatory, and so you can raise that if you want.
Seems like maybe we won't get them to do it if they have to give more than that. Would we? I mean, would we lose people?
So the state one says 20 hours a month. The local county one says 240 per year, and I did that on purpose because during certain times of the year, some people get really busy. Like we had Clay out on custom harvesting for a couple months.
Yeah.
So whatever number we go with, I do like the per year better than the per month or week or however. Just,
Yeah, I can understand.
you know, they might be able to hit it hard in the summer, or they might not be able to hit it hard in the summer.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a huge personal investment into this. I mean, they've really got to be dedicated to go through this and finish it. 'Cause
it's
not
9
easy.
months, and literally I just
Yeah.
got the book. The book is that.
It's not an easy thing to do. So if they're truly committed, I think we could raise those hours a little bit on that second year and still, because it does take a personal commitment to want to do it in the first place. But now I don't want to sour them either.
I don't either, but.
You also want to get your money out of it.
Yeah. Could we maybe go 25 hours a week or even 30 or,
a week.
not a week, I'm sorry, a month.
Oh,
Well,
I don't.
basically like 360 hours a year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that'd be 30. My gut feeling is, to them, it's really not going to make much difference.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't have very many people I know that are watching their calendar and saying, I just want my 20. You know, I just want my 20. Yeah. Now with this last class, I think we've got a couple, but usually that fizzles out. Either they quit because this isn't for them, or they pick it up and they really don't watch how many hours. So I would feel comfortable bumping it up. 360 would be fine.
Let's try it and see what kind of resistance you get.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that September 4th.
Yeah. And if you see that you're going to catch some resistance, you can always come back.
And they have the option of not committing.
Sure.
I mean, they have the option not to sign this,
Sure. And pay for it themselves.
and they pay their $350 or whatever themselves,
Yeah.
and they only have the 1 year commitment.
Yeah.
Or they have the option of no commitment to anybody, paying for the whole thing themselves.
Let's
So-
let's do that 360 and see where we go.
So that's EMT class, new business, statistics. Really, July, there was hardly any billing that happened, except for I got caught up on collection accounts, so that's why collections went up. The other big thing about July, I just realized expenses were way down. That wasn't on purpose. That's just how the month turned out. I assume in August they'll go back up. Accounts receivable is fairly decent. That's how we started the year out, about in the 120, 130,000. Call volume, steady. We had a total of 21 calls. The biggest difference I noticed in July with calls is we were able to take 6 transfers.
I just noticed that transfer loss was down.
Yeah, transfer loss was down, and there was quite a few transfers, so that was good.
And you're able to staff them all right?
Yeah, it's hit and miss. You know, you put out the text message, say, hey, who can go on a transfer or needs to leave in 15 minutes, and you can be very surprised. There's several people not doing anything, or most of the time, yeah, it doesn't happen. I will put a plug in for the hospital. I know just from doing payroll that several of those were taken by hospital staff to help us out. Brenda Hayes, Katie Bunker, she's an RN up there that they went on some transfers for us too, so that definitely
and we
helps.
want to keep that good relationship going.
Yes. Response times or average shoot time, which again, that is the time from when they page us to the time that an ambulance leaves the building. That's the one the state supposedly watches. It needs to be under 5 minutes average for the year. We haven't had any problem with it. We were right at 4 minutes. Average arrival time is how long it takes us to get on average to the person, whether they're in the country or in town. That just gets all averaged together, about 10 minutes. And percent ALS available is how many times was advanced life support available. 38% for the month, down a little bit. Probably some of that was gone for a week. Any question on statistics?
I don't have any.
And Wendy resignation. Wendy did resign her position as the health coach, which is that grant position, effective 8/21. So she probably put her notice in 8/7. That'd be 2 weeks before. She would like to remain her 20 hours of EMS office work part-time, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, one of the things we've kind of talked about was taking that position to an hourly.
And that would be a part-time.
Right. So I think that's kind of the way we're leaning, is to set a
Tracks, which that's the outfit that owns it currently. They rejected their bid. As of last Friday, it's a no sale. And what they can do now, being this line has been shut down for basically 4 years and no upgrade done to it, they can file what they call a feeder line acquisition, and they can actually force a sale, force them to sell this line to them. A year ago, down in southeast Colorado, down around Towner, this procedure was done and they were successful, and so they opened the rail line back up under new ownership. That's basically what they're going to try to do here.
What's the resistance from the present owner? I mean, was he not, or they not interested?
According to, and Mike, you can jump in any time, but according to Tim Tennant, that's the head guy of this North Central Rail Corp, which is the ones that are interested in buying this. They want to know why they're wanting to buy it and what are we missing? Why are they wanting it so bad?
So yeah.
They're playing that game. But anyway, they try to play the nice way, you know, and it's come to a standstill. They really want to open this line back up. What we're here for is to ask you commissioners for support, maybe to write a letter, and on the behind this head sheet there's kind of a template of what they did down on that Towner line. If we can maybe have something similar to this, you know, with your guys' signature on it, that way they have it on file, so when they present all this stuff to the Surface Transportation Board, they'll see that the county is standing behind getting the rail line back up and going. We, as elevator people, it has hurt us, and we've lost some business due to we're basically locked into bidding truck freight to the farmers. Our competitors to the north and to the south, they're able to offer a rail bid that we used to have. That can be as much as 15-20 cents back to the farmer difference.
Well, in these times,
Exactly.
we need to start looking at every way we can to.
Well, we look at it this way: every 100 cars that comes down this line, we're taking over 300 semis off the highways.
Why did they abandon this line in the first place? Do we know?
I mean, we don't know really if you can answer
Well,
that, but they have a history of purchasing these feeder lines and just running them
into the ground.
And
With that being said, Tim Tennant has been in contact with the Surface Transportation Board, obviously, and the reasoning that Omnitrax give the Surface Transportation Board is us elevators down this rail line requested that we did not need their services anymore, which is BS.
complete BS. If you go on down the line, at Beardsley, they had just spent how much money trying to get a system set up to run the rail. It's, you know.
We spent $100,000 on a certified scales that's less than 6 months old that we're not using anymore. You know, so.
They're doing the same thing, Beardsley in Rollins County, McDonald and Beardsley.
Yeah.
So if we can
And-
band together,
Yes.
it'll
Yes.
look better in the long run.
Yes. And that's why I say we're not asking for money, we're just asking for support. You know, And
I think we need to.
I do too. It was
it's, like I
kind of a
said,
blow to the whole economy of this county
well,
when they abandoned that line.
Omnitrax, they had the attitude that we owed them. They didn't owe us anything. This outfit here, they want to work with us. I mean, they were already talking about, he's got access to rail cars. I mean, he's a big enough short line rail man. They've got access to cars to where we're not going to have to go out and buy our cars on the market like we had to before with Burlington Northern. He's looked into bringing gravel in for the ready mix, concrete, fertilizer. He's even went as far as looking into maybe hauling crude oil back out of Rawlins County. I mean, this guy is really excited, and he wants to work with us.
Wonder how much disrepair has gone on. I mean, how much is,
Okay,
he's considered all that.
Yes, he's doing his due diligence, and
he's estimating it's going to take 18,000 rail ties to get this line back up and going. With that being said, he has talked to KDOT. KDOT actually has some grant monies out there for this to help get the trucks off of some of these highways that are getting really congested.
Yeah, like 161.
Yes. And so, I mean, he's done a lot of homework here.
Sounds like he's committed anyway.
But
I personally, I support it. I think maybe with a little more information. And Leslie, would you be willing to draft a letter of support of some sort?
okay, if you guys got any questions, on this front page is his
Okay.
phone number and that if you need to get in contact with him, or else get with me or Mike and we can get it for you. But that's all we're trying to do is get this rail line back up and going, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah. And they already tore out.
The eastern
County,
side,
yeah.
Norton and Oberlin.
Yeah.
Our line is still intact, because see, it comes out of Orleans and then it Y's off somewhere.
So some of it comes down through 385 and through Almena and Norton.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the one they've abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
So the direct lines still come in.
Right.
At Oberlin?
No. From Atwood, it angles up, catches Cedar Bluffs, and then goes to Wilsonville and Danbury and up through there. But that line is still intact, and come to find out, they're still using the east end of this line to store rail cars for other railroads.
Oh, really?
So they're still getting some revenue off of it. And I think that's why, I don't know. And we're still paying land leases on it, and they take 5% increase every year for nothing. You know, we're not getting any service, and we're paying.
Yeah, this is
Land
beneficial
leases.
all the way around, so I've got no problem supporting that.
Okay.
You
And,
pay a land lease and they're not giving you any service.
yeah, our land leases up there around, well, we got 3 leases, and they're close to $10,000 that we're paying them a year for nothing.
yeah, we pay 18 between the two sites.
Really?
And that-
And
You know,
what we've met with attorneys earlier on what to do about that, and it's just kind of you're fighting a big company there, and but this guy Tim, he's done his research, and he really believes they can. I mean, they tried to do it nicely, but he really believes they can go in this way and force them.
especially when they got proof that we didn't request that they close the line.
So do we have a House bill in Kansas that, like the House bill in Colorado?
I don't know.
Isn't that a House bill that they said they
probably
went
is.
through to get that line sold? Or am I not reading it right?
But they've retained an
Yeah,
attorney.
this is gonna take some research.
Yeah, they've retained an attorney that, and the one guy was in on that down here at Towner that they've got retained. So they kind of know the steps and the routes that they need to go. Like I said, if you guys got any questions, call Tim. I just talked to him this morning. He's very willing to visit with anybody. and answered questions, so,
Well, we'll try to get a letter drafted up that
okay.
states
We
our
appreciate it
concerns.
because it's basically the future of the county.
How quickly are you needing this, Dale?
What's that?
How quickly are you needing this?
I don't know.
At 5 o'clock tonight.
Yesterday.
You get to write it.
There's some time yet because they haven't filed the paperwork with the Surface Transportation on this yet. He's just trying to get all his ducks in a row and,
He's trying to get his support lined up.
yeah, before. And so when they do move on it, it's all there.
And like you said, Rawlins County's already committed.
They're in the
They're in the
process.
same process, yeah.
And I'm sure Decatur County will too, because Oberlin has one location there at Herndon that's still on this line.
Well, even where they're storing those cars, there's surely elevators along there.
Most of the eastern side quit shipping rail several years ago
Oh, really?
because they're closer to,
Big rail.
yeah, a bigger rail. And see, Oberlin, or not Oberlin, Norton actually had 2 rail lines going in there, so when Omnitrax closed there, they're loading on the Kyle line now. So, but
Yeah, I think
anyway, we're not going to take up a lot of your time, but if you guys got any questions, you can get with either me or Mike,
Okay.
and or call us in, and we can sit down and spend a little more time with you. But I know you guys are busy today, and we felt this was pretty important. So,
it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other business before the board? Sure.
thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Mary.
We're just dragging this out.
Okay, I'd like to request 15 minutes of executive session for non-elected personnel.
Second.
All those in favor?
I don't think you guys get it.
Apparently not. Hand signals work good. I'm an old traffic cop, don't you know?